All right. Hi, Sulema.
Hi, Reed.
So this is the first call of Brujas Unite, and this is a telecall or a video series. We'll see. And so the title of the series is Brujas Unite, creating the magic and mystery of the witchcraft and wizardry you truly are. So.
So it made me like a bruja.
Yes.
And would that be a
I would say so. Okay, well, why don't we start with you telling me about how you started with these tools and what, just give me like an intro of like where you began with all this and where you would like to go with it.
Okay. Mainly, I just like to speak to people about witchcraft and dispel the judgments that are connected to what that is supposed to mean here for people. There's so many judgments connected to the word witch or witchcraft, and a wizard isn't even like supposed to exist. It's something like from a movie and not real. Yet I know that the capacities that each one of us have to actually be more and create more, achieve more, and access are beyond like what we could cognitively describe. So it's something that I haven't been wishing to talk about for a very long time, and it's something that I myself have judged, so it's been difficult to show up, and here I am.
What do you, like with what you were saying, the tools of access consciousness, a lot of people may see them only as a tool, only something to just kind of like to use to create something, but there is an element of magic involved in what can be created with these tools. And where, like, what, I guess, like, just knowing you've kind of showed me, like, both sides, like, how they are a tool and how you can actually create and be magic, like, by being in the question and asking questions. So how has, trying to get to my question for you.
I got it without you saying the rest of it. Thank you.
So,
can I just answer?
Yeah.
Finishing. So, what access does is it gives you access to you, to your true beingness, your true capacities, your true abilities. And when I first started, I was like, abilities? What are you talking about? Capacities? And what are you talking about? It's stuff that we've shoved away from ourselves for so long that we can't even cognitize. And what we can't cognitize, we don't believe exists. Like those people that say you have to see it to believe it. Well, it's just not true. Einstein said energy could not be created nor destroyed, only transformed. And energy is what we are and what we be. And if we can acknowledge that truly and wholly, the capacities that we have to be with all energies across time, across matter, we can be so potent and powerful and just change things that we never knew we could change, like and in an instant. And nobody can tell me that it's not so. I don't care who you are, I don't care what religion you are, what race you are, or where you were born. Nobody can tell me that what I know with the capacity that I can be and you can be in changing energies and being highly, highly aware and is not so. And so if starting to talk about it can facilitate people to be more of that for themselves, well, I think it will. Hoping that it will help people be more of that for themselves so that they can access the magic that they truly be without sounding like cliche-ish.
Yeah. And in the past, it's like magic has always been something that only exists in science fiction and or has been kind of made into something that it isn't, you know. And so what does like conscious magic look like? And what does it look like and how and like what can we do to bring it to fruition on this planet?
The main thing is presence and like an intense presence with oneself and minus judgment of everything. Because when judgment gets in the way of or takes over our mind, there isn't the space to be that magic, that to have the craft, the true craft of what can actually change whatever it is we'd like to change.
Yeah. And you've told me stories and experienced like some of the magic that is possible out there just from using the tools that you've shown me and that I've actively chosen to use. And like, what about magic is so hard for people to acknowledge sometimes that they can actually create something like that, like a miracle in the face of absolute impossibility. And so, like, what's that?
I think that, we're a product of our environment and that we end up buying into the beliefs of those around us, of our parents, of our religion, of our, wherever it is we grew up, of our professors, of our friends. We become shy or embarrassed to speak of those times when we sounded too weird or seemed to be too weird because something magical happened or we heard something or saw something. So again, we shove it away. We pretend that it didn't happen, even when we know that it occurred.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as something showing up that you wanted, or somebody calling, or you running into somebody. It can be as simple as it can be simple. It doesn't have to be, this enormous change. It's all around us.
It's like just there's like a knowing there, but it's like when something were to happen like that, the difference between acknowledging the miracle that you've created and brushing it off like, oh, that was weird, like, but never acknowledging your part in the creation of it, like what, so is the acknowledgement that it exists a part of bringing it into this reality? And
I would say the letting go of that it doesn't exist
yeah,
would be that. Letting it go, like, wondering, being in wonder rather than in impossibility.
Yeah.
Wondering, like being curious like a child, just being in wonder about what else is truly possible, and what else, and what else, and what else, so that more can come into fruition. You know, it's not the brewing things in a kettle or burning things or animals or, you know, these rituals. I think that the witchcraft that was done, the witchcraft that is done or has been done in the past is very analog. You know, we have Wi-Fi today. We have the internet. It's not necessary to sit there and to do a funky ritual of any kind, to have magic occur, to have change occur, and to bring into fruition what one would like. And I think that without bringing this craft to the world now, that the opposite is occurring with worry and doubt, and that is the craft that is killing what magic we can be and are. It's the same, it's just against us rather than for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's putting an immense amount of energy towards something and switching it.
Yeah, and I would say that magic and being magic is something that is desired here. Like, it is something a lot of people would like to have for themselves, and to, like, for themselves and for the planet and what they could create there. If you were to give someone a tool to start creating magic in their life, what would you say to them?
If I were to give them one tool, it would be to ask a question. Because a question opens up possibility and choice, and an answer kills everything. It just like stops the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest, is to ask a question, like an open-ended question without a result or anything in mind, like want to ask for $1 million, because that's
Right, because you could create more, $2 million, $3 million.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, then a part of magic is never stopping, never concluding, never. It's like being in a space of, like, infinite possibilities.
Have you ever experienced magic?
Yeah, I have.
Or a miracle, or something you call?
Yeah, it's never, I will say, it's never the slap in the face. It's maybe sometimes is, but it's usually like this subtle, like, oh wow. And then it's up to me whether or not I actually want to acknowledge it for what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example of something like that. I mean, I was sick not too long ago, and just the difference in the space that I was when I was sick and what I did to get out of it is like night and day. It's so different. And what happened was the shift in asking the question of really getting down to, like the truth, what was true for me, created this dynamic, um, like energetic shift that actually allowed me to even heal. Like, as you know, because you were there for most of the time, I was, um, there was a lot going on between what doctors were telling me was wrong with me and what my parents were trying to comprehend between them and me. And then there was just me being in the face of all of it. And like at one point you asked me the question, are they ever going to find out what this is? And I said, no, they won't.
So were you diagnosed?
No, I never got an answer, which is amazing. And
how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. I was in 1 week and then they released me, and then I kept having fevers and I went back and I was there for another 2 weeks. But, looking back on it now, that was definitely, like, that's a miracle and magic in the making.
Would you say you were dying?
Yeah.
How close do you think you came to that?
Kind of how it was like maybe another month, maybe less.
What did that feel like to get that close to death? I know that you were dying.
It was kind of like a kick in the ass a little bit and very intense. Like I was angry that I was even in that position, especially like I never expected myself to be there. And in a lot of ways I acknowledge that, like, I mean, I got to a point where I had to make a choice. Am I going to die or am I going to live? And by asking the questions, I was able to get myself out of the hospital and heal myself. Like, my body I lost about 12, 15 pounds, and I was in pain pretty much every day for much longer than I was in the hospital for. So
what does choice mean to you now, like today after that experience?
It's kind of, it's like, to me, I relate it back to being like a shark. Like, choice to me is like the continuous movement that's almost required for me to even stay alive. And as, like, we know from science, sharks can't stop swimming or else they'll die. So it's like that for me. Like, if I'm not continuous, if the choice is out of there, that's it. Like,
do you think that you had made the choice to die when you got sick? Consciously or subconsciously?
I would say it was more subconscious, like something that maybe I was ignoring. I was ignoring the fact that energy was in my world, and it pretty much got so intense for me to acknowledge that I got sick. Like, that was the intensity that I was unwilling to almost acknowledge that I was ignoring. So yeah, I would say that was my choice, to ignore my awareness.
So therein comes the body into play. And when it's like our body's a sensory organ, but if it's getting sick, if it's something's occurring, it's our body giving us information.
Yeah.
And when we're ignoring it, it's where disease comes into play. And so with access, I've seen so many people heal from so many different things. Once again, I've been an eyewitness to instant change of people that have had disease, had severe injuries. Like, I wouldn't trade $1 billion for what I have, what I know. It's too powerful. It's too, I mean, it's just, there's nothing.
It's almost like there's an excitement in there too. It's like, it's amazing to even be able to witness and be a part, like, to acknowledge it as real, you know, like, how's it getting better than that? And
You know, is religion used to control people, or does it really empower people? Does it do both?
I mean, maybe
In a sense.
it can, but in some ways, like, it's kind of like the telephone game. Like, when something gets, you know, I mean, and in a lot of ways, this kind of relates back to magic. And it's like, you have something that, like, there's a truth in it, and then as people interpret it and make it into something it's not, and then pass it along again, you know, where does that leave us? So, you know, that relates back to religion, because in a lot of ways, religion has faced that similar course.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would like for people to get to look at what else is possible with their bodies and their energies.
mm-hmm.
And there are a few things that I think have to be done. You know, there's a little bit of doing in order to get to the place of, I'll just use the word cure, for lack of a better word, like,
Yeah.
to a place of purity, to actually be that and have it fully.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess what we can do in the next call is talk more about what it is that we have to rid ourselves of, almost like cleansing.
Yeah.
To be able to access more of our magic, our witch and wizardry that we should all have access to, and not continue to make wrong. It's kind of like the Hogwarts school.
Yes.
Wouldn't you all like to have access to your own style of magic? And for some of you, it might be, you know, it's different for everybody. So,
Yeah.
It'd be really cool for me to get to know more people that are interested in this subject. And if I can be that teacher, educator, coach for whoever's interested, I'm here. And I'm grateful for you, Reed, that you're willing to talk about these subjects and be open and raw and not shy about, you know, what it is and has been for you and what you've witnessed through me and through some of my family members. And I have a whole lot more to talk about and share, and I will prepare more information and hope that some more people join us on these calls next time.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.